Yeah, correct. Yeah, you know what's weird is like a lot of the stuff you see like has no ratings. It's like people don't really do that, but I wonder if maybe that is where like two of the ratings are from. Because I never really see anything. I never really see anything that. I would be willing to bet that the ratings that come from the developer or testers don't actually count. I would be willing to bet a small amount of American dollar on that. I would be willing to bet, possibly, maybe, because the amount of times I see any ratings on like anything new in the store, almost all the time they're at 0. So I would be willing to bet that probably not. You can rate it, sure, but does it count? I don't know. We can call, I got what's his name on speed dial. We can call him. Oh my god, this thing looks nice, dude. Who is this guy, man? I heard he's from Vegas. Heard he's real sexy. Yo. Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna bring Vegas on. Whoa! The hell am I doing back there? Don't worry about him. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He's got his arms glued into the give me a minute. I'm trying to find something. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Nerve Vegas. Actually, Nerve Gas, Nerve Vegas, Ed. I call him, you don't know this yet, Ed, but I actually call you Harvey. And you'll have no idea why. But I do actually call you Harvey. When I talk about you with my wife, your name is Harvey. And I could tell you why, I guess. I used to have a drummer, and his name was Harvey, and you remind me a lot of him, so I accidentally was calling you Harvey to my wife, and so now you're just known as Harvey. I don't even try anymore. Just only with her, though. Weird.
Well, a lot of people just call me Vegas, because, you know, it's just the shortened version of my handle, and now I live in Vegas, which makes it funnier.
Yeah, that's even better.
Oh yeah, the scratches went away, and I'm not entirely sure why. I'm still trying to figure out where they went, but the glass is there.
Oh, yeah. I am noticing this, that the glass is here, because before when I had this thing in the sim, there was, when I had glass in it, the glass was non-see-throughable. And
yes, and this one works if you turn on the rain.
Okay, let me turn that rain on, baby. Call me Paul
Get some
Wall.
of that rain going.
Call me Paul Wall, be swinging in the rain, you know what I'm saying? Turn me up? What do you mean turn me up? I can't really go up any louder, man. I'm already pulled over too far. I mean, the only thing I could really do. See, if I go up any higher than that, yeah, you're just gonna have to turn up all together. I mean, I can't really go any higher than I am right now. I can scream. You know, I could scream and holler. You know, I could put the mic closer to my mouth. Could be what I could do. Well, I'm trying not to be Montana, but thank you for letting me know. Okay, so take me through the Storch and show me.
Do we have? I don't see the rain on the window.
It's not the rain. Even though I clicked a rain setting, it did not actually.
Yeah, if you turn on dev mode real quick.
Okay, let me go up here to dev mode. Okay.
And then go to your options.
Volumetric atmospheric effects.
Got a windshield rain right there under the zeros, under the two sliders. There's a little thing just up 3. Right, just a little bit down, right there. Yep. Hit override rain rate. No, click the thing that says override rain rate. Click on that box. You gotta check mark it. Yep.
Gotta check now.
And then, yep. And then you should see rain on the. You should see rain on the glass now. You get close to it.
Do I gotta actually turn?
No, it should just work.
Not working for me.
It works for me. That's how I test the, because you can also turn on the wind to test the directional, the water moving directionally. Anyhow, it does work.
Well,
just not sure what working on yours.
It's probably
it might be something to do with your. It might be something to do with with your overriding stuff with flow.
Probably.
Possibly. I don't have flow enabled on mine.
I wouldn't be willing to bet. By the way, Hangar Studio, send me your PayPal. Send me your PayPal and I will give you that $1. Okay, so
I can turn my audio down. Guitars, it's too loud.
I can. Don't turn yourself down. I'll mix over here. That way I can make sure that the next time you come on that you don't have to go mess with your settings, and I'll just kind of set mine. Could be the music. The music could be too loud. The music is probably just too loud. Let me turn down the music.
And yeah, see, I'm looking at the chat. Yeah, Hanger, I just made a second UV map, and all you need to do is then align the UV faces such that the rain effect basically moves from the bottom of the UV map to the top, and you just align all of the faces, sort of along that x-axis, or y-axis, the y-axis on the UV map, and then it just automatically figures out how to apply the rain effect to the windshield.
Yeah, so that Huey over there, or that Sapivo,
the footer goes in the inside of the cockpit to block the rain effects from getting in the cockpit itself.
That Togs Hanger UH1, I can't actually turn down the sound of that. So if you could hop into something else real quick, because I can't turn the sound down and it's kind of like loud. I know that seems very, very unrealistic request, but trust me, I'm always asking people to turn or to get out of planes that have sound bugs. I do want to say thank you, Sapivo, for letting me know that plane does have a sound bug, because now that I know, I'll have to badger the dev until they fix it. Oh, wait a second. You must be lagging behind still. I'll just have to delete the plane. I've done it before. I've just deleted the plane sound files. And, there we go. There we go. Must just be lagging behind. No big deal, but it's just one of those things that, like, if it doesn't work as intended, then it shouldn't be in the sim. Okay. Oh, thank God, Terrible Guitars. Thank God there's someone else in here with me. Thank God. So, it's raining here, but I don't see the rain on the windshield.
Yeah, I'm thinking it has something to do with your... Try doing the rain rate override.
Let me try that. So...
with the Microsoft Flight Sim weather turned on. Odd options, yeah. There we go. Let's see. Nope. You would see them running down the glass. Well, sticking to the glass. It doesn't move until there's wind.
Right. Okay, so where should we take a look at? So, okay, the rain does work. It's not working for me.
Does. But it's also, that's one of the last things that I'll, finalize and make sure that it's all where. I was just kind of messing with it a little bit last night. But you can see that, so there's updated textures for the instrument panel. Well, textures for the instrument panel now, I should say. The panel itself is all textured. Just got to get the rest of the dials and switches and everything else all squared away.
Turn it on the headlight here so we can actually see a little bit better.
Oh yeah.
Now that I gotta turn down
They-
this. Hold on a minute.
And I think if you I don't know if I saved if this one still has the spotlights or not. I think I turned them off temporarily because they're very pink.
Oh.
And they're bleeding through everywhere.
Let's see.
Kind of like he does, you know, he just kind of appears through the.
But yeah, my guy just appears right through. Doesn't even give two shits. Hey, look at his hair's all flashing. Okay, so anyway, here's the new textures on the dashboard, and those are really nice looking.
The wet compass is textured now too, up top.
Oh, that's so nice. Hey, I love that. Even a weld on that, gorgeous.
Got little tiny welds in there. You know, those little weird end caps are welded on. Everything, like I said, everything gets some love. Even the little metal piece, if you look inside there, like, look kind of down in through the front, down on top of that little spinner in the middle. Yeah, and then go to the top part of it. Like, go up.
We're glitching, we're hacking, dude.
There you go. Yeah, you can see, like, even on there, like, look at that. It has, like, edge wear and dirt spots. Like, even that little thing has, you know, some detail work to it.
That is nice. That is nice.
But yeah, so that, and then of course I got all that stuff under the dash.
So let's take a ride down. Take a ride down under, mate.
Going down the elevator here. Yeah, all this now has, you know, all those little accessory bits have some texturing on there. You know, you get your steel cable and.
That is gorgeous.
Everything.
I love the little shoe kick plates for. For the
the little
braking, and you're trying to use the rudder.
Turn and brake at the same time without smashing your toes against the firewall there.
Or even that, you know, like take a look at the braking system. I mean, like everything, the wires are hidden, like everything is like, it actually makes sense. Like it would actually work, you know.
Yeah, exactly. I modeled that as close to the pictures as artistically possible without, you know, having a gajillion triangles everywhere.
Oh, look at the dirt. I mean, you can't get this close to a lot of things in the sim. I mean, but like, we're pretty close to this right now, even zoomed in.
I mean, even the little cotter pin right there has a bunch of, you know, scratches and dirt, and there's little oil stains on there, and.
Oh, gorgeous. Little wood panel down there. Ooh, look at that stitching.
Yep, the new I redid the stitching on there. It's got different kinds of stitching now. You've got the cross-lay stitching and then the overlay back and forth. And of course that'll warp with the yoke or stick as the stick moves. You know, that mesh will move with it. And when you hide the yoke down in that little tube, there's a bunch of texturing down in there too. So when you hide the yoke, if you look down, it's not going to look like some boo-boo something. You know, it'll actually look like a thing.
Wait a second.
Yeah,
I can actually.
Yep. Keep going down in there, and you'll see. Oops. And you'll see.
Oh yeah.
You can't click to hide it yet, but if you warp yourself through it, and then see, look, there's texture down in there. So when you hide it, you'll see like, you know, metal texture with some dirt and stuff down in there. Nothing left to. No stone left unturned.
Yeah, this is really nice. Even like the little rope on the stick there, it just feels real. And then you look at like the dirt on the seat, and you know, like the dirt in the crevices, right? Because this may get wiped off. It probably rarely gets cleaned or vacuumed, you know.
Well, and especially if you're out in, you know, North Africa carting Rommel around, you know, you're not dusting your seat after every flight, right?
Yeah.
Now, it's not so heavily grimed that, like, it looks like the thing's gonna fall apart. Sure, there's a little bit of rust here and there, but for the most part, it's like, if you look at the back, it's still painted. You know, it doesn't look like a total rust bucket. It still looks like it's mostly held together.
Right, and I imagine you modeled, or you textured this off of some of the ones that you've seen. Obviously, looking through all this. Wow. Even down here, like the buckles and everything. I mean, look at this. Look at this texturing here. So I was hanging out with Vegas in Discord the other day, and he was showing me some of the processes that he had done, and we started out with like the brand new seat, and then he kind of showed me the way the layering works in Substance Paint or Substance 3D or whatever it's called. And so like he was like, yeah, that looks good, right? And I'm like, yeah, it looks great, you know. And then so he showed me then the next layer, and I'm like, damn, dude. And it kept on going until he was like, he's like, that looks pretty good, right? That should. And I'm like, yeah. And then he does another layer, and then it shows up like these little instances here, which make it look like it's, you know, curled over and kind of like sewn together, you know. And then so then he shows me like the belt here, and he's like, you know, that looks great, right? You know. And I'm like, yeah. And then he's like, all right. Then he puts on another layer. And then all of a sudden I see the stitching, right? There wasn't any stitching. And then I see the stitching, and I'm like, damn, dude. I mean, it's tough to get that close to anything and have it still looking good. I mean, look at this. You know what I'm saying? You get that close to me, and everybody starts running, dude, you know? So, all right, so this looks beautiful. So is there anything else in here that you would like to showcase?
Oh yeah, zoom in really close on that clock.
Uh-oh. Super Tom. Uh-oh. 3 in a row. That's the limit. It cuts off after 3. It cuts off after 3 automatically. Super Tom, how you doing, buddy? Wow. Look at that. Now that is just...
Parkour!
Oh god, Montana did.
Parkour! Parkour! Extreme! Parkour! Parkour!
Uh-oh, where am I? I need to go back. I need to get back into this view here because I can actually slow this camera down.
Oh my gosh, just look at it.
It's not perfect.
Just look at it.
I mean, look at this.
Just look at it.
Yeah, well,
What the Oh my gosh, just look at it.
It's not perfect.
Just look at it. Just look at it.
Yeah, well,
What the heck is that?
You guys are being just unruly, okay? Listen here. I mean, look at the detail on the little hand, the little grippy hand grip part, you know, where you're supposed to like turn it at. That's crazy. Or like there's a freaking reflection on that sucker. It's so shiny on the middle of it. Or the little golden dial. I mean, that's just gorgeous. So this is what it's looking like so far, guys. We have a long way to go on this project, but I would be willing to say that this is by far the sexiest Storch ever made for any 3D model. It's gotta be. I mean, there's nothing I've seen that that's more Storchy than this.
It's the storchiest Storch that ever storched.
Yes, it's a star-bellied Storch, I would say. Some of the interesting stuff, like even this, where this goes down, like just little thought processes like that while you're modeling. That was during the modeling process, but just little thought processes like that, I think were neat to see. I mean, that just looks so good. I mean, that stitching, it looks like I could literally cut that with a knife and ruin everything you just did. But that's not the case, because I would probably go to jail for ruining the most beautiful Storch in the world.
Oh, that's textured now too. I forgot. The little oil cooler at the bottom there. Underneath the engine.
Oh, okay. Well, so we'll start here. So now we're gonna move on to the engine. We've seen the inside, most of the inside. If there's anything else that we forgot, we'll go back. And we have the oil cooler textured.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. We have
trying to keep it a little bit clean. It's only got a little bit of dirt and dust on it.
Right. Just a little.
Just a little. Trying to keep the outside somewhat clean, but not, too clean.
Yeah, I mean, they wash the outside.
Look at the oil drops right there, sort of between the two blue pipes on the back side of the engine. Like, get in there and look on the engine, and look on the engine block.
Oh.
See how shiny it is in there?
Yeah, dude, that is so cool.
The oil. Ooh, son.
That is cool, bro. That's slick right there. See what I did?
Literally. But there's like little oil drops up on top of the oil container up on top there too. Like if you look around the where the funnel piece is on top, you'll see there's like drips that go down there.
Oh, that's so cool looking, dude. Some little finger, like some little hand drags. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep, looks like, when they were trying to pour it in there, they just spilled a little,
What I really like about the Germans is they just say, "Who needs a funnel? We'll get rid of the funnel and we'll just put in a, put in a funnel on the device."
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Why carry around an extra funnel? Of course, they hand built most of their stuff, and that's most of the reason why they lost World War II, because they wanted to eat their cake and have it too. But that's not for today. That's for another day. Oh wow, that's cool. Even where the man, this looks so good, dude. Now, these blue pipes, what are the blue pipes? Don't cross the airworthiness border with the rust and oil stains. Okay, we won't do that. Super Tom committed a party foul and said, "The Storch isn't my kind of plane." Oh, that's it, dude. I don't even want to read the rest of it. Ban him. Get him out. Get him out. No, I'm just joking. But I like it the more you show it. Thank you, Super Tom. Comment of the day right there so far. Still looking for someone to beat Super Tom's comment. So then we have our welds, which is great. Now the welds are textured, right? Those look so damn good. Get your copper, I guess, I don't know, maybe those would be probably spark plugs, I would imagine. Spark plug wires. And then you got the Argus symbol there. Argus sounds like a pirate's name. Like if it Argus. You know what I'm saying? It sounds like someone like a pirate's name. Oh, look at that. That looks real, dude. That looks fucking real. Like I had to ask myself for a second, am I really in a simulation anymore? Even like the spot where the wood goes together, right? Because the props were somehow probably like plywood in a sense, to where they would like splice two pieces together. Some kind of like locking mechanism. Not technically plywood, but they're multiple pieces of real wood, Just a Argus.
Argus, yeah.
I hear you, dude. I hear you, terrible guitarist. You should change your name to Really Good Comedian.
Oh, and if you look, and also one of the new things on here too is that the that whole main fuselage panel is all completely remodeled. So like where your hand's sticking out. But if you look at the it flies in slew mode.
Oh.
Yeah, if you look at the little cutout, all of this is all now like smoothed out. Everything has everything's all clean. Yeah, you can slew her around. She'll fly. If you let her, if you drop her out of slew mode, she'll glide. Glides really well, actually. Like, doesn't even want to touch the ground.
Uh-oh. Now, so the reason why the tail's sitting up off the ground is for purposes of development.
Very stable, actually. Weirdly. Even in this
Dude, that looks so fucking cool, dude. Dude, this thing is like probably like maybe 20% textured, if that. And
Yeah, if that. Yeah.
it already looks just. I mean, if there was a song, it would be "I'm Too Sexy for My Own Textures."
I mean, this engine, gives that Wasp engine a run for its money. That's for sure.
Is there any way that we could make this like? Could we make this fly but non-animate the prop? So that way we can just like look at the
eventually?
prop the whole time.
Yeah.
Can we just make like? Can we release it without an animated prop, just so people have to stare at this the whole time?
Just
The
you have
only
to stare.
camera view is just right here. Can we do that? It really is nice though. That prop, I feel like I could grab that fucker, pull it out, and hang it on my wall right now behind me. And the name too, the Heine props are the best, dude.
Well, I think it was the primary German manufacturer of props back then was Hein. I think it's probably just Hein.
Heine.
Imagine.
Heine.
Heine?
To paraphrase Toy Story, it's falling with style. That's what I'm talking about.
It's absolutely falling with stuff. But look how well it glides even in this state. Like, and the thing is, like, this glideability is absolutely on. Like, will absolutely fly like this. If you cut the engine out, the thing you could just float around in it.
Oh, I don't even know if I actually probably do have an engine right now.
I think you do.
Oh yeah. I just
it
put on
has.
the nitrous.
I have it attached to the DA62 airplane config. So it is attached to a basic flight model and everything. Yes.
Right, the sample config.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, the one that gets created when you create a new project by default.
Right. Okay.
This is a clean project folder that I can test stuff in without having to worry about anything. But yeah, and I'm super happy with the progress on the texturing and everything. Obviously, still have quite a bit to work on, but
Now,
yeah, overall,
you remodeled the whole cage and everything, right?
yeah, all of the fuselage and cage. The only thing I didn't remodel was the little like interior panel that covers the inside. But everything else around it, so the shell around the windows, the fuselage shell, all the way down to the tail rudder, all got remodeled to have. And you can see that how the shadows are nice and smooth, and everything looks, as it should.
Except for my hair.
Except for the fact that you're basically just, you've warped yourself into the plane somehow.
My legs and
There's still some weirdness, like on the glass on the top, like some of the pipes still kind of warp through. There's little glitchy stuff like that here and there. And of course, I haven't done any modeling work on the tail at all yet. I need to put in the cutouts to have the cables coming out and everything.
right. And nothing's
yeah.
animated yet either, so that's why.
Yeah, correct. No animations, nothing's rigged correctly. But otherwise, I mean, as far as modeling goes, it's about 90% of the way there model-wise. That should be, I should be wrapping that up relatively soon. Of course, I will unfortunately have to put less time into the Storch here moving forward. I'm going to be, of course, but I'm going to be working on other development projects now full time. I got hired as a art and code guy for a dev studio, so
Yeah,
we'll see how that rolls.
But which is why.
Hopefully I can make, I assume I can make it public at some point. I mean, people can see me in the beta channel now. I'm sure they're wondering what I'm doing in there.
Right. Which is part of the reason why, I'm glad that you worked as much as you did to get everything to this point, because there's going to be a time where, I still have to learn all the sound stuff. We don't have anybody to do the sound, and I'm not going to release it. We aren't going to release it without good sound. So
Exactly.
There's we're to that point now where you basically have a day job of doing that stuff, and then this will be kind of like something that you do.
Definitely, this is why we're ThirdWind simulations.
ThirdWind simulations, baby. You got to do it in that ThirdWind.
Yeah, work on it between 1 and 5 a.m.
Well, yeah, terrible. This is just the flight model is just it's just the base sample aircraft right now. We haven't done any work on the flight model as far as that goes. And also, it did have an engine on most of that time. So, but yeah, that's just. This thing is gorgeous. So, I will say, I'm doing pretty well on, like, as far as the sound goes. A lot of you guys already know, but I went through some courses for WIs, and now I'm working through WI's sound package for the Storch. There is a couple of things that I'm kind of like that I need to work through with it, because it's very, like, the documentation's good on WIs to create a sound package for the flight simulator, but not, the videos are terrible. Videos are like no voice, you know, it's all subtitles, and when you pause it, all the subtitles are at the bottom, so you pause it to try to read the subtitles, and then you gotta wait for it to go away, the little, you know, play line. Gotta wait for that to go away to even really read the subtitles well. So it's quite the process, but that will, you know, that's gonna come through in due time, you know, so it's not gonna be like, I mean, we don't want to take 20 years to do this thing, right? We want to get it out as soon as possible. But with that being said, we don't, you know, we're not gonna have, like, and I've said this since day one, that I'm, you know, when it was just me, I wasn't going to release anything that's not high quality or top quality, and it didn't change at all. It actually probably got more high standard when Nerve joined the team. So, but eventually, I mean, for me, eventually I want to get to a point where, because I haven't had I've not worked for anybody in over 12 years. I haven't, you know, punched a time clock or anything, except like if I worked for my dad doing construction, but that's kind of like a choice. I don't really have to do that. But for me, it's kind of like a break from working from home, because it's driving me a little bit crazy. But for me, I want to build up ThirdWind to something where now we're hiring people to do work for us because we're so busy that we can't keep up with all of it. You know what I mean? But in the meantime, you know, Vegas and I, we both have other jobs. We both have other stuff. I've got the stream. I've got the National Soul stuff and all that stuff. So, but none of it, you know, this thing's going to come out. It's going to be beautiful. You guys are going to be swinging your hair, flying the Storch around. You know what I'm saying? And I love it, man. I love it so far. And I've said this once, and I'll say it again. My mother told me not to meet men at bars. Well, I met Vegas at a bar, so now I'm going to start meeting men at bars.
I was gonna say. I mean, I could do a quick, like, 15-minute substance.
I would love that. So let's do that. Let's take
here.
10-15 minutes and go to substance. I'm gonna pull up your stream.
Let me start streaming it here.
Antic ass, is it going to be used in eStol? That is a question that could only be answered if all 4 people that are involved in the well, it's actually really only 3 people, because I don't think Anov really wants to. Anov's got enough going on where he doesn't want to be involved in that, which is a great thing. But I mean, I would imagine so, because it's going to be realistic, and that's really like the only. Does it fit in the class that we have? Yes. It fits in the class that the Wilga goes in. And then is it going to be realistic? Yes. So I would say 99% chance that it will be in eStol, and it will compete against the Wilga, because it's in the same weight class as the Wilga. I'm trying to find, probably would help if I put my glasses on. I'm trying to find my Discord thing so I can pull that up. Oh, where is it? Window capture.
Turn off Discord for a second. Or not Discord, I turn off stream.
Oh, you know what I gotta do? I actually gotta, like, watch your stream in Discord real quick. Alright, hold on, folks, hold on. Alright, let me put this up here. Put this up here, put that up there. Okay, now I need to go to Discord. Oh, why isn't it showing up? Discord? Oh, Discord cam right here. Okay, there we go. Okay. Okay. So that should be your full screen. I've already got it to size. Okay, so Nerve, I'm gonna give you the camera, or I'm gonna give you the mic and everything for a minute. I gotta run to the bathroom real quick, but take it away, and I will watch this back in the YouTube video that'll be posted on the ThirdWind Sim YouTube channel. Any that I missed, because this is really interesting. So I'll be right back though.
Excellent.
Take it away.
Yeah, and I'm watching the chat, so feel free to post questions in there, and I'll answer them as I go. Let me.
Iron Man 210 said it looks like an eagle with its claws hanging down to grab fish. I fucking love that, dude. That is exactly what I think.
All right, so for those of you familiar with Substance Painter, you're probably noticing that I'm missing like the assets and everything. I have those pulled out on a separate window to make it a little easier to see them and my model while I'm working on stuff. So pro tip, if you have a second monitor, yeah, you can pop those little windows out off onto the screen, just drag it away. Alright, so the first step whenever I get into Substance Painter is to go over to baking mode over here after I've imported the model and created the new file. When you come in here, you'll have your texture set list if you have more than one. So if you have more than one object selected, or even an object with multiple materials applied to it, you'll see each material in here as part of this what's called the texture set list. I tend to try to work with just one at a time, simply for performance reasons, because I start to do a crazy amount of layering and my computer will eat a brick otherwise. So I try to work on one texture set at a time. There's ways to optimize it where you can work on multiple texture sets. I'm faster this way. Anywho, so you come in, and this is for baking your like your normal map, your AO, curvature, world position, part thickness, height, bent normals. All of this stuff is going to get baked down by Painter. Now, none of these are being saved as maps that you're using in Microsoft Flight Sim. They're just being used by Painter to do things like the smart materials and smart masking, things like that. You also see like there's some geometry in here like this that I'm going to clean up later on. Insane number of triangles that it decided to make on this N-gon. I'm going to turn it into not an N-gon after the fact, but it's just a flat piece, so it really doesn't matter too much. We just needed a piece of texture for it later. So we come in, and I always use 4K. 8K just is too much resources to use, and unless you're making a 4K texture, but even then you can just bake it at 4K and it'll be fine. But even when I'm working in 1K or 2K or lower, I'll still bake everything at 4K for the resolution on the AO, things like that. So output size 4K, come down in, apply diffusion, and then anti-aliasing, always 64x. You want your AO map to have as granular as possible, because that's going to affect your shadowing inside Flight Sim. And then that's it. Now, if you're using a low poly mesh, along with a high poly mesh to bake down, like say your normal map, you can select the high def mesh here, or use your low poly mesh as the high poly mesh if you're doing like if I was baking this one, I could just call this the low poly mesh and it would bake my details down for me, and then I can feed it in later. But if you're using that workflow, you would use this section here. Most of my model, I tend to model without needing to go too high poly, but like if you're using a lot of sub-D modeling, you'll want to use this. Or if you're doing like a really big airplane, like the C-17, I did a lot of baking normals down to avoid just overloading people's systems. But anyhow, once you do this, you'll hit bake, and it'll go through and bake all of these maps for you. Once it's done, it'll come back to this screen here. You can just hit return to painting mode or click on the little paintbrush up here at top, and that'll bring you back out to the default screen. To move the screen around, you hold down Alt, and that gives you access to your pan with middle click, and then rotate with left click. And then, oh, with right click you can slide the mouse left and right and zoom in and out as well. I just tend to scroll to zoom in and out. The makes navigating in Painter a lot faster, holding down Alt to do these, to navigate around. And then to shift your light source, just hold down Shift and then slide your mouse left and right, and that'll alter your shading for you as you're going. And you can select different HDRIs to use while you're working in here. So like if you want to change the lighting, once it loads, trying to murder my computer, here we go. It'll change the shading because the HDRI will provide a different light source or different color light sources for you to use. So you can check your model out with different types of lighting. So as far as the actual texturing goes, you can kind of see it's just a lot of layers, and my workflow is probably not the most efficient per se. I tend to do a lot of just looking through my asset library and dragging it out to the model and just seeing how it looks. Let's see, what about the AO right here? Yeah, so if you don't want any of the AO in those places, you can just you can either edit it directly inside of Painter. You go to your AO map and just find the part that you want to clear it up on. Just use your white paintbrush, or just take this. You can export this map from inside Substance out to like Photoshop, edit it in Photoshop, and then re-import it back in again. Just don't bake a second time or it'll overwrite that AO. Or just when you do the bake, just unselect the AO map. Yeah, so Substance Painter is a hog on the graphics card. Yeah, for sure. I don't know why. It also really likes RAM. So the more RAM you can put in your computer, the better. I finally got it where I can work on 4K textures without too much trouble. But yeah, for any AO that gets baked that you don't want, yeah, like I said, just edit it directly in here or export this map, which I believe you can do. If you go to this guy, no, there's a way to export the AO map. Well, yeah, I forget how to do it, but if you just look up export AO map Substance Painter, it'll show you how to export that map, and then you can edit it in the editor of your choice. Okay. Moving the light source also works when you're looking at your 2D map in Substance Painter. So as you move the light source, it'll change the shadows as if those objects were, it follows your normal mapping essentially and your AO. Just another way of visualizing things as well. But the main nitty-gritty here, go back to 3D. No. There we go. But yeah, there's a way to export these maps and work on them, or like I said, just work on them directly in here. Wow, what else? But yeah, really my workflow is just throw materials at the thing until it sticks. So like here, just adding 2 layers of rubber, and then on the second layer, just giving it a metal edge mask so that you only see the second one, which is more bumpy, kind of on the edges here. And then in the center, it's still just more of this sort of regular rubber tire look. And again, I kind of came to this result just by applying different materials and different masks until I was happy with it. And that's the entire workflow. I just keep doing that same thing over and over again with every part until I'm happy with it. So then first layer of dark steel for the back panels. First coat of paint for these guys. And these are just random random metal materials.
Someone
Burstix is back.
Someone
he was
my stream.
right? Yeah. No, he's here. This is Nerve Gas. Nervegas? Vegas.
This is Ed, Nerve Gas, Nerve Vegas, Harvey now.
Yeah, Harvey. Yeah, I'm just Harvey.
He was
Harvey
the
Danger.
drummer in my old band. And you do remind me of him, so that's why to my wife, I don't even try, like I said, I don't even try anymore. I just call you Harvey.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So like you were mentioning on the Wasp, you know how it has that sort of like bumpy metal look, and you can see how like on the back plate of the instrument panel. So here, that's just one. That's oops. Which one is it? Oh, this one. Sorry, steel painted clear coat. So if I turn off this one and just put this one on first, you'll see that one material, right? It's a smart material, so it has several layers built into it.
Yeah.
Did this automatically. I didn't have to do any of that detailing work myself. And so, you know, I could just run around slapping those on everything in here, and would it look good? Yeah, it'd probably look okay. It wouldn't look bad, likely. But it wouldn't look real though. It would still have this kind of almost fake look because everything is too perfect, right? Even though it has these indentations and this kind of stuff, it's still missing something, right? Like I don't know how to explain it. It's just a feeling that I have when I'm looking at it, that it's just missing something, right? So I will start to build up using let's see, can we get? So I just used 2 different metal materials for the screws just to have some variety, and I think I also added like some rusty screws in there too as well. Trying to find that. Oh, there it is. Okay, so here's the second layer here. But then on the edges, it has a mask, so you can kind of see the other steel behind it. And then I'll just, you know, like I said, as I go, I just kept building up materials until we get to this one. No, not that one. That's the actual. This is the first. Try not to waste too much time doing this.
By the way, I love that Hanger Studios is here hanging out. He's one of the developers that I really enjoy. And not just because he comes in, but, you know, he's just a cool dude in general. And he actually really helped me kind of jumpstart this project big time. So big shout out to Hanger Studios for helping me get the courage to even start doing something like this and taking 2 days to show me some really neat stuff. Even though I didn't end up using it because I found Nerve, it still really helped me jumpstart this project. Otherwise, I don't know if I would have had the courage to dive in headfirst like I did. So really heartfelt thank you to Hanger Studios. And I just love the questions that come from someone like Hanger, who's now made like 3 or 4 planes and, you know, has some knowledge and some really good knowledge. And so those are really good questions to see. And then I think Terrible Guitarist is starting to get interested in it. So I hope we can help some people too learn this kind of stuff.
I think I kind of half misunderstood his question. Yeah, so AO. Yeah, I'll remove any AO where an object is going to move away from the thing that it should have the AO on. Or like in the case of the rudder pedals, I'll texture them separately so their AO doesn't get baked down onto the floor texture. Like I'll just export the little bass stand, the bass stand of the rudder, the entire rudder stack thing, and I'll export that with the floor so that I get some AO baked down where that is, but that's not going to move. The other pieces, since they're all movable, I won't export them with the floor, and that way the AO baking, I'm kind of taking the animation into account with the AO baking. And that's a purely from experience sort of step to take, right? Like most folks aren't going to think ahead that far. In fact, they'll probably just export the whole model and try to texture it all at once. Yeah, it is a giant pain in the butt to have to take it out after the fact. So I try to mitigate that as much as I can by exporting the various objects that I want AO baked with, at the same time. And in fact, some of them I'll just export that aren't even on the UV map. So they'll look super bizarre in Substance Painter, but once I save the export the texture, it doesn't apply in Blender, right? Because I'm not applying it as a material to that object. So I can export. I'll export things with other stuff specifically for AO. Yeah, absolutely. But otherwise, if you don't want to have to do that, if you just want to clean up your AO, yeah, I recommend the export the AO map option and use like Photoshop or Affinity Photo or Krita, GIMP, something like that to do the editing. Like I said, it is possible to do it inside Painter. I don't remember exactly how to. I haven't messed with that in a while. But also, yeah, because I usually try to bake my AO around animations as much as I can. Like you'll see here, I don't have any of the handles and switches exported with this. Just these guys. And with these, I'm not worried about. I'll edit out the AO behind the dials and stuff, behind the needles as I go. Yeah. But yes, I did kind of half misunderstand your question at first. But yeah, so once I get, so this is now the base layer that I was kind of happy with this, right? So like I'm like, okay, everything kind of looks how I want it to, as if it was like brand new, almost. I mean, these already have scratches built in. And then I'll just start adding in layers of stuff. So this kind of grayish layer here, this guy, kind of hard to see, but you can see it on the edges kind of popping up here. That's just cast concrete. So if I clear the mask temporarily, you'll see, oops, sorry, remove the mask, there we go. You can see that it just gives this concrete on everything. And then I drop the opacity down to 6, and then give it, a mask that I like that, just kind of puts it on the edges here. And then I'll play with the opacity level. See, that's too dirty. I'll bring it way down until I'm happy with the result. And so that's the first layer of grime. And then we throw some dust on there, which again, when you first make it, I've kind of adjusted the opacity and things a little bit here, and remove the height component of this over here. So if you go into your material when you're doing your materials, you can change which channels it's affecting. So your color channel, your height map channel, your roughness channel, your metal channel, and your normal map channel. You can selectively choose which channels a given material is affecting. So if you unselect them, it's as if it's passing through that material and not changing anything as it's going as the program goes through the layer stack. So it goes from bottom to top when it's reading your textures. Much like a programming stack, instead of coming from the top down, it just goes bottom up, applying each layer successively. And so when it gets to this layer, if it doesn't see that height map is selected, it won't apply any height information to the mesh as it goes up. So it's a way of reusing materials in different ways with the same material. You don't have to have a massive material library. You can do a lot of things with masks and generators and playing with which materials are selectively affecting which channels. So that's like one of those little tricks to tricks with using Substance Painter, and not having a ton of money for materials, is to just reuse the ones they have in creative ways. I think this is dusty plastic. Okay. Sometimes I'll use like bone textures for stuff. Don't be like here. You can see cardboard paper is actually my sort of like rust layer. If you look at the edges, I know it's hard to see. Everything's so dark, but you can kind of see these brown spots that pop up kind of on the edge of everything. And those little brown spots are actually paper cardboard. But again, I've just applied a smart mask and adjust the opacity to the level that I like to gain the appearance of like a little bit of dirt, mud, maybe, maybe some rust peeking through. It doesn't really matter what it is. It just breaks up the profile of this to give it more, without these 2 layers, without these 3 layers, this is what it would look like, which is fine. It doesn't look bad, right?
It's too new
It
that
looks,
way.
but exactly, it looks too new. These are just very subtle layers of stuff to just give it that little bit of a veneer of it's being used in the field. I mean, even, hell, 10 hours after rolling out of the factory, it's going to look at something, at least some level like this. Now, like, this wouldn't be this scratched up, but a lot of these instruments, they would, swap them in from an older plane, so you would have this really nice factory new painted panel with, crap-looking instruments slapped on the front of it. So I kind of tried to emulate that here by having, like, this is really clean, this is pseudo, whoops, this up here is pseudo clean.
Man, I love
It's
that
still got a
look.
little bit of stuff, but it's, it's more like it's worn down rather than it's dirty. Same thing kind of with these guys. I wanted the screw to be shinier. There's a little plastic doohickey back there. But there's, fine details on them already. They don't need to look, so I'll selectively apply the dirt and grime to stuff as well. Like this guy already comes pre-grimed. And then it's got this little brass thing here. I think you push and pull on that to let this thing then change the clock, if I'm not mistaken, but I'll have to discover how that functions. But yeah, it's just kind of a subtle layering process.
I love it.
One trick I do with, let's say, the explode the view and everything and export it.
So I want to keep the video to about an hour. So let's show us one more
good
thing
there.
in substance, and then we can continue on if we want. I'm just gonna cut the recording so that way we can.
Yeah.
Make
Let me
the
just.
YouTube video.
I'll do the same one that I showed you. I'll just do a quick, turn the layers off, turn the layers back on type of thing.
Let's do it, baby.
Let me not save any of my changes that I just did.
Yeah.
There we go. So
I love
let
this
it
chair,
load up
man.
here.
It's a nice chair.
We'll do the quick 5-minute version, and then I'll let you get to flying instead of just talking about development stuff.
I mean, I could keep on talking about this all day, but I do got.
Also, look out for some really cool stuff. Other stuff that I'm working on too, that eventually I'll be able to talk about.
Yes, sir.
But lots of cool stuff. Lots of cool stuff. There's gonna be lots of pretty aircraft flying around in this sim. Yeah, it's another 4K texture, so it's gonna take it a second to load up here. But let me do this.
It's alright because I gotta reload my sim anyway. We're gonna go fly around Detroit a little bit because I got a new Orbix Detroit landmarks and I want to check it out. So we're gonna take the Wasp and fly around in Detroit for a little while. Helicopter time.
And as like a quick tip, kind of like alluding to what Guitarist was saying about needing a strong computer. One thing that I've noticed with Substance Painter is that you're doing any kind of video encoding, whether it's uploading or download, or like watching a YouTube video, it really doesn't like it. It makes everything run slower in Substance Painter.
Could be because
so, like,
you're streaming this too.
It's definitely why it's running slower. Yeah. Well, a lot of these, because I get so many layers, they already kind of run this way anyway. It takes me a minute to make a change sometimes. Once I get to the end, right before I export. But that's just the nature of working at 4K with huge numbers of layers. Start turning these off here. Boop, boop, boop. Oh, yeah. I need to delete that layer 1. That doesn't actually do anything. It's not a real layer. Alright, here we go. So we're back to we've done all the baking and all that fun stuff. You can see your. So this is what your. So AO is also like what me and Hanger were talking about. The AO is this the sort of micro shadowing. So like the shadows that are under these buckles, the shadows that are under here. So like because these aren't going to move, it makes stuff look really nice that's static, because it gets all this extra micro shadowing that you otherwise wouldn't necessarily get in flight sim by default. But that's what ambient occlusion is the sort of smaller micro shadowing is what I call it. I'm sure there's a more official term for it. That's just my sort of made up nonsense. Get this chat back up here. Here we go. Okay, there we go.
I saw
so then
Hanger was talking about exploding the view on everything. I saw, so 270 gave me a little substance paint lesson well before I really probably needed it, but he did anyway. And I really wish I would have kept substance paint, but I didn't keep it at that point. But anyway, he was showing me that he kind of like he brings everything in, so like it'd be like the Storch, but like everything would be exploded, all like way out or whatever. The double ender, I think he was showing me. Pretty interesting. I don't know what it all means, but
it's also, well, exploding it out is also yeah, so it's a way to be able to separate parts out by, you know, sort of groups, so you know where crap is also part of it.
Right.
It helps when you're the modeler who's not also you know, like if I'm trying to texture something that somebody else did, then yeah, I might get lost in the weeds on the model sometimes, or you know, because there's so many parts.
When
that's
you
definitely one of
model
the
it,
challenges.
though, that's a little different because you know where everything's at.
I also have a pretty good idea of which objects are like here. I know all of these bolts across the front are actually just a single array that I did. So
Right.
it helps because I have a really good understanding of what objects are what and where stuff is. And then what I do before I texture stuff and work on UVs is I'll go through and pick out all the objects that I'm gonna put on one UV map, and then I'll put them in a group, you know, collection in a sub collection in Blender, just to keep track of them. And that way I can select those objects quickly, and I also know exactly which objects are on which UV maps. So I organize my hierarchies via UV maps, so I know where stuff is. Oh, right. So I'm just gonna do the quick rundown. Kind of turn on each. Oops, sorry, we're in AO. Turn on each layer and you can just kind of watch the magic happen as we go. What's interesting is, again, so like here's another texture where it came with a bunch of stuff that I don't want, like, you know, the flannel. It's flannel. I don't want the flannel, so I get rid of all the flannel.
It'd
but
be
I
cool
like
on something, but not this.
right. But I like I like all of the, you know, other stuff that it does. Right. Like the other texture that it gives is perfect. So you just, again, it's one of those I pick and choose stuff as I go. Just to mix and match and reuse materials to save on money.
There will be a VOD,
then,
Pro. We got check,
absolutely a VOD.
Check the pinned comment, the YouTube. That's where it'll be.
So then, just, you know, I started layering up some grime on the seat itself first, because I was kind of using it as the sort of basis for everything else.
That's the seat where Goring sat.
Mm-hmm.
Sharded his pants.
Here, I'm gonna kill the stream for a minute. You just have to read out chat if there's anything interesting.
Okay. Yeah.
It's killing my PC. Murdering my computer while also trying to stream at the same time.
No, I know it's too much going
There
on
we
at
go.
once.
So then, you know, so each successive layer of like this is the one I was telling. This is kind of fun. I was telling Burstix was this one is, if you look down here in the crevices, you know, the dust that gets down in here is actually a bone texture. And if I do you can kind of see how it looks like bone.
Yeah.
There it is. Yeah, it you know, human bone. If you were to put that on a bone, it would look like, you know, like dinosaur bone or what have you.
It would remind me of something in like the treasure game on PS4. I can't remember what it's called, but
Yeah, exactly. But if you
Drake's Uncharted.
if you give it an overlay and then drop the opacity a little bit with a nice dirt cavity map. It uses your baked maps to smartly apply it only in places where you want it. So now it just looks like it's a little bit of dust kind of sitting in the cracks of the seat when it's a bone texture. So that's kind of my other trick, not just reusing materials, but also using materials in ways they probably weren't ever really intended for.
Being thrifty.
Thrifty, right? Thinking outside the box, right? Taking a note out of Macklemore's book here, a page out of Macklemore's book. And then I started working on the seat frame itself. So everything just kind of gets, and then the wood and more metal. So everyone just kind of gets layered up. Each, different metal textures for different pieces to give everything a little bit of variety. I try not to I try to use the same color schemes for the most part, but use different materials in different places, so that everything gets a different, slightly different look.
Yep.
And then, so then on the seat belts, this is the cool stuff. So what's interesting is, I'm not sure how familiar everyone is with the painter. I know Hanger, you probably know your way around it. I don't have a color ID map set on this larger belt underneath, and it's all one piece. But what's cool is with all of these new path tools that Painter has that are really good. So the leather, I just applied this leather texture using the per polygon fill to mask out the edges and this little front plate here, and then use that's these.
It's crazy, like here. That right there looks like brand new.
And again, this is the path tool. So this is the seam path tool, and you just click and map out your curve, and it adds in this normal mapping to give you the actual seam, and then you play with the parameters until you're happy with how it looks. And then same thing with the with adding the stitches. It's just a ton of path tool, but it really, and if you run it kind of along the edges here, you can kind of get rid of the fact that it's aliased a little bit because of the fact that I was doing a polygon fill. There's a little bit of aliasing because I don't have this thing subdivided all to hell, so I'm trying not to make everyone's computers poop on themselves when they fly in the Storch.
Right. We gotta keep it separated. Gotta keep it good for
yeah,
Xbox.
Exactly. And there's some little curve and weirdness, and I just kind of go and do it, and then I'll make a few tweaks, but for the most part I let kind of some of that stuff fly. Like, I don't want everything to be too perfect again, right? So like the guy stitching this thing, he's not going to make a perfectly straight line every single time. He was some dude in a sweatshop in West Germany or whatever, all of Germany at the time.
At the end of the war, they were using a lot of,
at the end of the war, especially, right? Exactly. So it's, who knows who made this thing? So it's, little stuff like that's okay to leave in there. And I was telling him, like when we talked about before, like with shading, you don't have to perfect the shading on some of this stuff in Blender before you texture it. Texture it first, and if the shading is still too poor, then go back and fix it. But sometimes, the weird angles and things work for some of the stuff that you're trying to do, and it also depends on the normal map that you apply to it.
It gives it that real. If something looks too, it's just like you see somebody on social media and they're like too perfect. You're like, man, what the fuck's wrong with this guy? He doesn't even swear on his Twitch channel. He doesn't allow swearing on his Twitch channel. What the fucking hell is wrong with, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, now I'm not saying you should leave, major boo-boo shading areas alone, right? Like, obviously clean those up and fix them, but little tiny stuff on certain things sometimes can actually be beneficial, like these little metal pieces and things like that. And then I just finished it out again with, I got to this point, I was pretty happy with it, but the seat belts and everything just kind of looked, again, it's just got one little too perfect. But this was already good, so I left it alone, like the seat itself, or the seat frame. But like the seat belts and the seats got just a little bit more, see, now it's got some scratches, and it just highlights a few things on the seat a little better. And then same thing with like and then I did the gray dust on the on the seat belts. Again, just to kind of, it gives it everything that one final little sort of layer of it was sitting in the desert, basically. And again, a lot of this process was just me throwing textures on here over and over again and playing with stuff and just tweaking it until I was happy, and just doing that iterative process over and over again until I got this.
Well, it's gorgeous, and that's going to cut out the rest of our time for this part of it, so we can actually fit the video on YouTube, etc. But I do want to say